Hello, everyone. I just wanted to. James Pierce put up a very interesting question about the essence of the Declaration of Independence versus the Constitution. I just want to throw out some stuff, and it's for general discussion, but I'm just want to let you know I was going to use props, but I was having some work done in the house, so all my books are packed up. So, anyway, so you have the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is the declaration in which we wish to be separated from Britain when we realized that we were being taxed, but we weren't being properly represented in the Parliament due to the fact that that time was a constitutional monarchy as it is today. That declaration was written by the same framers as the Constitution. But what transpired was what came from the Declaration of Independence post the Revolutionary War of 1776 and the signing of the Treaty of Paris, Treaty of Versailles in 1783, came about the Confederation, the Articles of Confederation, which predates the Constitution by I think about 5 or 7 years, and it gave states rights exclusively to the point where they were so independent based on the Declaration of Independence that they were printing. Each state was printing its own money. Each state was making treaties with other countries independent of each other, and basically no central organization was set up to create a form of paying back all the loans that we had taken from France and the surrounding countries during the Revolutionary War. And in fact, what occurred was a mass problem of intrastate business. So New Jersey was tariffing New York, and New York was tariffing Rhode Island, and Rhode Island was tariffing everybody else, and it became a disaster where each state was so independent. It's sort of the way the EU was created recently. So to prevent a total collapse, or at least a civil war, which occurred anyway some years later, the framers of the Constitution, or the framers of the Declaration of Independence, came together and created a constitutional Congress, which, by the way, during that time, I'm just laying this out because I don't think it's said very often, during that time, it was so illegal, it was a sign of treason. And the people who eventually signed and wrote the Constitution of the United States, including at the time George Washington, who was the presiding president over this constitutional convention, would have been killed if it was found out. It was very secret. History, people don't tell you how secret the Constitutional Congress was, because the Articles of Confederation were set up and ratified by all 13 colonies. This was completely, basically, an overthrow of a government that the framers of the Constitution had created. So what transpired, and this is the part where I'm jumping in here, what transpired was two things. One, privately trying to resolve all the problems and trying to create a centralized federal republic government, or Republican government. And at the same time, publicly trying to encourage other people, and thereby creating the Federalist Papers, which you can pick up in paperback anywhere or look online. And those were published in local newspapers that were owned by guys like, Ben Franklin and the rest, who were setting up all these, setting up this Constitution. Now, the Constitution is the social contract between the United States and the people of the United States, which is you, me, and anybody else who is born here or a naturalized citizen of this country. The problem is the question of taxation. Now, I'm going to throw something out really quickly. I'm trying to make this as quick as I can. The 13th and 14th Amendment, and I'm doing this off of the top of my head, 13th and 14th Amendment was written and not completely ratified, but it was written and passed with a quorum of about 9 out of the 43 states, I believe, that were at that time states in the Union in 1913, during Christmas when everybody was on vacation and there was just a quorum of 9. They basically opened the Congress, passed the amendment with the majority of members there, which were like, I think, a quorum of 7 or 9, and they went off and did their magic and went off for the new year. And that basically created two things, the Federal Reserve and the income tax. And both of those, funny enough, funded all the major wars. World War I, 1914, World War II, for the world, 1939, and all the consequential wars that we have. And we had moved from a tariff system where we collected monies from goods that came from outside the country, which China and everybody else does, to an income tax where we were taxing individual people. Now, I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories and all the other stuff, which is really not a conspiracy theory. What I would say is to read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, and see for yourself what you think is going on. Ultimately, the Declaration of Independence is not a contract between us and the United States. It is a separation between Britain and the colonies. But the social contract that's between us and the United States of America, both state, city, local, and federal, is the Constitution of the United States. And that is the thing that we need to focus on the Congress and changing laws that are considered unfair or unjust. We've done it before with the Halstead Act, which brought about prohibition. We did it again with slavery, changing the law there, and we can do this by repealing the laws that create the Federal Reserve and income tax as we understand it today in the IRS. But it's up to us, and we have to stop looking at the guy in the White House. He's useless, regardless of who it is. It could be Ron Paul for many of you. And this guy would be completely useless, because who changes the laws? Not the President of the United States, but your congressmen and your senators, Congress people and your senators. And those are the people you need to be focused on, not the President in the White House. Peace.